Hey everybody, it is Tom from Regal. Thanks for joining us for another of our live impromptu but planned videos from the studio. I hope everybody's starting to recover from Star Wars Celebration. I know around here we're just barely doing so. That was a heck of a show. If you're listening, let me start the way we always do. If you happen to be watching this live, this is a live Q&A, so join us in the comments, let us know that you're watching, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Rob will be reading them as we go, and, in fact, there you are. He'll be reading those as you go from that, and then he'll read the questions to me, we'll try and answer them, and we'll kind of take it from there. We love this to be interactive. We'll ask you some questions, you ask us some questions. Don't hold off, don't hold back, don't hesitate. Please feel free to hit us up. And if you're watching this after the fact, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube, ask questions in the comments. We'll check back in from time to time. We always try and keep up on these things, and we'll try and get you answers in the comments if we can. Let's see here. We had a couple people who asked things ahead of time. There were a couple other things we want to cover. I think I'll just start with Max. Everybody probably already knows this, but it is Max Rebo Day here at Regal Robot. We have, at Celebration, we did the signature edition for this. Very lucky that that was super well received. Everybody was really, really generously excited about it, I would say. I think the reaction to it took even us by surprise. Like, we knew it was good, and we heard a lot of people talking about it ahead of time, but the actual reaction at the show was so good, and just thank you all for that. In the meantime, though, once that sold out, we did always have this numbered edition waiting in the wings. So if you happen to miss that, now's your chance. It's on our website. It is $3.99. There's even a partially payment plan if you prefer. You get both sides of Max Rebo, the front and the back. Everyone seems to talk about his back a lot. We get a lot of comments about that, and just about his weird anatomy. We did a Return of the Jedi creature panel. That was me and Kirk Thatcher, who worked on the movie, and Jason and Gabe from Blast Points, and Amy from Nerdist. We had a really good time chatting that through and going through tons of behind the scenes pictures. And one of the things that we did was a bit of like Max Rebo breaking news, or at least Max Rebo anatomy news, because someone who was painting these here actually said to me at one point, they're like, oh, should his flippers have these blotches on it? And I went, flippers? I believe you mean ears. They kind of pushed back and said, no, I'm pretty sure those are flippers. I mean, look at them. And, here I am, informed by the Kenner figure and all of this, and years of fan bias, let's say, and this was someone looking at it with fresh eyes. So I said, okay, $5 bet, I'm going to ask Phil Tippett. And Phil wrote back, and he said flippers. And so I feel like Phil owes me $5 now. But yeah, so apparently his original take on this, he says that, like maybe these are his ears, these little flaps, and that what we thought were his ears all these years were actually intended to be flippers, and these are most certainly legs generating from quite a nice backside right there. So never too old to learn something, and it's kind of like the cool thing about the making of these movies is the more we think we know, the more we can pick up along the way. So that was really wild, and we put that in the Return of the Jedi panel, and it was a fun thing to kind of quiz people on at the show and get different people's opinions on it. And it is weird looking at him now. It's not so much on the final costume, but looking at this particular one, boy, they do start to look like flippers. Anyway, I see Rob poking through some questions already.
All right, Ian, he says, thanks for a great celebration, guys. No one had a better exclusive or reveals. Regal was my very first stop on Thursday morning. It was great to see everything that is coming in the archive collection. Will both the Gaffy Sticks go on sale at the same time? And do you know what the edition sizes will be for each?
So first off, thank you, Ian. It was really nice of you and good to see you at the show. It was really good to see everybody at the show, just as an aside here. Like, so many people came to the booth, and quite a few, between masks and just the fog of the show, there were definitely some names that escaped me along the way. But really good putting faces, or at least half faces, to the names of so many of the people who have been longtime customers and clients that, we've never gotten to see in person. It's kind of one of the coolest thing about the show. The only thing I wish is just, my schedule was relentless, and I really do wish it was just a little more relaxed and that I had some more time to just catch up and hang out with people. But, we tried to, everybody that came up, tried to ask them questions, try and get feedback on stuff, get opinions on things. We love taking that into what we're doing, and it's a big part of why we do these videos and why it's a Q&A and why we encourage folks to put their questions in the comments. So Ian's talking about the Gaffy Sticks that we have in the works. We showed them at Star Wars Celebration. They were way up on top of the archive collection case for anybody that came by the booth. If you were at the booth and you didn't look up and missed it, I'm sorry. Next time we'll put an arrow. But so we have two of those coming. We have one that's based on The Mandalorian. That is based off of molds that we had because we provided the Tatokia end of that to the show. That one is all resin from the tip of the spear to the pineapple end, as they call it, or the acorn, depending who you talk to. The other is the hero style, A New Hope. Now, in A New Hope, there's a couple different styles. There's the kind that Peter Diamond, puts over his head that has the extra long silver spike end and the extended, whatever you would call that, spike on the end of the pineapple. There's also one that the Bantha Riders used that was after some damage had befallen the hero prop, so it's got a shorter spike end and a shorter spike on the other end. That's the one that turns up in exhibits and archives and stuff like that. But ours is based on the original hero. It's based on a scan of one of the real props in the archives. It's actually technically a scan of two props in the archives because we integrated the longer pineapple spike off of one of the Rancor Keeper Gaffys, which is the same type of mold as the A New Hope hero, but it was pre-damage. So whereas the A New Hope one in the archives had the damage spike that was a little shortened, we now got the proper length and shape spike off of the Rancor Keeper Gaffy and grafted that on, which was a neat way to go back and figure that out. That particular one is resin and actual metal on the spike end, welded metal and things like that. The two editions, in terms of edition sizes, I don't think we put that up at the show. We certainly have edition sizes in mind, but I don't think, I'm looking at the famous board that no one can see. I see our scratch numbers there, but I don't think they're set in stone, so I don't want to necessarily get too far ahead. What I would say is this: we'll likely do more of the Mando one than we will of the A New Hope. The Mando one is at a much lower price, and we want that to be something that stays on the website for a while and give folks a chance to get it. It's very important to us that stuff actually sits on the website a little bit. The worst thing in the world for us is to have a website that people can go to and not buy anything when it comes to the collectibles. So even though we certainly have our editions that do sell out quickly, we're trying to make editions that will intentionally be there for a while. Honestly, Max Rebo is one of them. With the maquettes, those are all 250-piece editions. That's a big edition for a very background kind of piece. And the idea is, we want them to be around for a bit. There are going to be collectors who come into this line a little late, and I don't want them to have no chance to get the early ones, because then maybe they don't, join us and go along for the ride with us on it. So the intention will be for the Mando stick to almost certainly have a higher number than the A New Hope, but not super drastically different. What was the other question? Oh, will they be the same day? Almost certainly released on the same day. I see that as an either or for most collectors, and I don't want people to feel they have to get one or the other based on it being the first one out. I'd like them to see it and get whichever one really is the one that speaks to them and works for their collection.
While we're talking about the Gaffy, do you want to discuss about the display options?
Good one, yeah. At the show, we just had the Gaffy Sticks on a very basic 2x4 stand, black painted 2x4s with little grooves for them. We're currently finalizing with Lucasfilm and Disney what that stand is going to be for these things. What you saw at Celebration is nowhere near what the final stand is going to be. But I would be really curious, and this would be something to say in the comments. If you're interested in the Gaffy Stick one, let us know that. That's great. If you prefer the A New Hope or the Mandalorian, let us know. And if you don't know the difference between them, go to our website, look for the probably the second or third news item in there that talks about our different reveals on the news page of the Regal Robot website. And there's pictures of each of them and a little information. But yeah, let us know if you're interested, which version you like, and then how would you display it? Do you see it as something you would want to hang on a wall or put on a table? Do you see it as something where if it's on a wall, you would display it horizontally, or would you do it vertically? If you were doing a tabletop, is that a horizontal display, or is it maybe almost like a katana stand where the pineapple end can be down at the bottom and you have the shaft going up and kind of an L-shaped upright stand? Let us know what you think would work for your collection. Let us know what style you like, and we'll consider it as we finalize this stuff.
Brian says if choosing one, A New Hope for him, and he says hanging on the wall vertically would be his decision.
Interesting.
Jeremy also says A New Hope all day long.
I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot of that.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and set that A New Hope edition big enough to cover as many people as we can. Are there other variations of this that we could maybe do someday down the line? Possibly, but we have so much other stuff to do. We don't like to, cover ground we've already done right away. So, this will be something that when this goes out, it's going to be your chance to get this. And I just want to make sure we have enough of them out there that folks can grab them.
Ken chimes in with A New Hope, and Brian says hanging vertically.
Hanging vertically. Well, it's interesting because that's, prior to this, we probably were leaning hardest at table horizontal, I think. But, we talked to a lot of folks at the show. I was surprised how many people say hanging vertical. We definitely got a few hanging horizontal. We definitely got a couple of table horizontal. But hanging vertical seems to be, maybe that's the one most people are asking about. Let us know if you're listening. If you think, a Gaffy Stick hanging vertically on your wall would be the ugliest thing in the world, say so in the comments. But if it's the way you like it, let us know that too, so we can, firm up this direction and hopefully make a lot of folks happy with their Gaffies.
All right, Jeremy asks, when's the Tusken Raider bus going to be released, and what about the edition size?
So right now we have said midsummer on the Tusken. I would imagine that means late July. All of that is with a huge caveat of, still pending final licensor approval, still pending Disney okays on our website, marketing, and all of that fun stuff. So just take that as an approximate. I think that's about where we're aiming for. We've got all the basic prototyping done. We're making a couple of little tweaks to his chest right now. Some of that is for fit and finish type stuff. It's not really aesthetic so much. It's more for keeping our process tight. We did narrow his shoulders about a ½ inch on either side since the show version, which we knew we were going to do, but just didn't have time to do ahead of the show. But otherwise, he's pretty much good to go. Yeah, I would say very late July, might push into August, but that's currently the goal for him.
All right, well, vertical seems to be the winner here. Everyone's saying vertical, space saving, going vertical. So,
wow, wall vertical.
And Ken chimed in and said maybe an option for either or.
Yeah.
So
it's a little tricky to do that, without adding a bunch of expense for the people that only want it one way. But yeah, we're working on it.
Ken says he missed the signature edition of Max at the show. He says he tried. Yeah. And if he gets a Max Rebo, will you sign it?
You can always ask that. And, if people want me to vandalize stuff for them, I usually begrudgingly will do it. But I'd be happy to just write them at the studio when you place the order. Thank you. Sorry you didn't get one at the show. We had a lot of folks who missed out. Like I said, we were really surprised by the reaction to it. It was a $450 item. There were, I thought, a lot of them. We really weren't sure going in. The first day, we were like, okay, we hadn't set in stone what our plan was going to be for how we doled them out, but we kind of said, we'll play it by ear the first day and we'll cut it off if we have to. And, almost before 10, just with the VIPs, we had a line that was like, well, crap, now we have to cut this off already. And we wound up, going a little more, so we got some people not VIPs on there, some of the regular folks, and then had to cut it off, had to just have a small amount the next 2 days, and then we were done. It took us completely by surprise. I will say this, we physically made as many as we could before the show. It was a relatively late switch in the lineup, thanks to just our discussions with Lucasfilm and where they wanted us to go with some of this stuff. So we did everything we could ahead of the show. We got to 83. We said that's going to have to be the edition, and it's a good number. And we actually stretched a little bit even to get there. But hindsight's 20/20. There's no guessing these things ahead of time. I'm so glad so many people were that excited for it. I feel terrible for the folks that didn't get it, but I'm really happy that we do have the numbered edition, which again, available today on the website. Same great butt. And I just like that we give people a chance to get it. The signature is great. It's Phil. We've got a few other items with Phil's signature that you can bring home as well. So, maybe there's that. Maybe you've already got something with Phil's signature. You know what? Let me transition this to the future maquettes. Because initially our thought was that this line would have no signature editions. The signature edition of Max was a really, really late edition. Was it just the fact that it was a Celebration exclusive, or was it the fact that it was a signature edition that drove you? If you were someone that picked that up or wanted to pick it up and couldn't, let us know in the comments. I would say just, let's word it towards the future ones. I'd like more signature editions in the future on these, because we've been looking at them and thinking, okay, next up is Bib Fortuna, which I think is our current plan for our next one. I believe that's another Phil sculpt. We could do something where we do another small signature edition of that, in addition to a numbered edition. And if there's enough demand for it, it's certainly something we can look at. Some of the other ones going forward, let's see here. We have Weequay, which was Ken Ralston. That's someone that we could certainly talk with. We have the Taunton maquettes. Those were Phil again. Are you getting tired of Phil Tippett autographs? I don't know. We have another one planned after that was unfortunately, that was sculpted by the late great Wesley Seeds. So in a case where maybe the maker isn't available, or maybe where it's someone like, even with Bib, where maybe the maker we've hit a few times, how do you guys feel about us looking at actors? Would Michael Carter be a better signature for Bib Fortuna, or would but I don't want to say the actor on the next one because we haven't officially revealed it, so I'm not allowed to say that. But I think the same question would go for the Gaffy Sticks. Right now that's not planned as a signature edition, but is there interest in that? Is there interest in doing some sort of signature edition with those? And if it is, who would you want on there? Is it the actor who plays them? Is it the studio shop that made them? Is it, in the case of the A New Hope Gaffy, is Roger Christian a person that we even, I don't know that he would even do this sort of thing. Or do you go with like Alan Fernandez, one of the last remaining, folks to play a Tusken in the first movie? He was one of the elephant handlers for the Bantha scenes. Let us know what you think on that stuff, and feedback, questions, whatever. Throw them in the comments.
Yeah, it's just staying on the same subject. Christopher asked earlier, will the Tusken bust or Gaffy Sticks have a signature version?
Yeah, and I guess, Christopher, just let us know. Who would you want signing that? The busts, we don't know exactly who built those for the movies. That's an art department thing, so it wasn't something like out of Stuart Freeborn's crew. Nick Bailey wasn't involved, none of those folks. I don't believe Brian Muir was involved. I believe I've asked him about that in the past, but we could certainly bring it up. But, that's that might be something where the only option is an actor. And usually Lucasfilm isn't crazy about us bringing actors into that stuff. That seems more the domain for official picks and whatever else. But where it makes sense, I mean, we brought the performer in for Salacious Crumb, where we had a dual signature of Tony McVeigh, the sculptor, and Tim Rose, the puppeteer, the performer who played him in the movie. So yeah, there might be something there. But let us know. Yeah, let us know who would move you. What you think would be fun to add on that. What would make you want to bring it into your collection even more.
Kevin says, signature editions, this is the way. we have a lot of people on board for having signature editions.
Star Wars quotes will always win points around.
Yeah, Christopher says, I would love all the maquettes to be signature editions. Me says, actor and maker.
Okay.
So he's looking for both. Dean says, could you make a deluxe edition of the Tusken Bus with a partial arm that would hold the gaffy stick?
Oh, gosh. I think people might be not fully grasping how big the gaffy stick is and how heavy and dangerous that might be. Think about the stand that bust would need. I mean, look, there's always custom. Drop us the line, but yeah, that's a lot of work.
Tony is asking, what sort of payment plan will we have on the Tusken Bust?
Almost certainly a 12-month. It seems like that's what we've pushed at for the bigger stuff. It's a little tricky for us. I prefer shorter payment plans just because it tends to line up with our schedule a little better. But enough people tend to pay in full up front. And one thing we have been trying to do on the payment plans, and you'll see it on the Max, I believe it's got an adjustable length. So if you're someone that is doing the payment plan on that and you say, well, this is a $400 item, 4 months is plenty for me, or you say I want to push it to 6 and save a little bit each month, we do give you those options.
Justin's saying, no signatures, save on the cost, he'd rather see more pieces.
All right. And I do think if there's going to be signatures, that almost certainly we're talking dual editions then. Right, Rob? Like, is that...
Yeah, totally.
Like, certainly on these guys. Like,
yeah.
I don't think every one of these, even just as a collector, I don't know that I go for signature every time.
Yeah,
but,
no. Option for both, totally.
Yeah, I think, and in some cases maybe it's a much smaller signature edition. But, yeah, I think a lot of times it'd be an optional thing. And I think it would be nice, regardless, if the regular editions stay at 200 or 250 pieces, even if we're doing a signature, so that they do stick around for it.
Right.
Like I really do want folks give folks a chance to get these.
Craig has, he says, no small runs, too many going to eBay.
All right.
So, but
we saw a handful of them go to eBay. That happens with every exclusive from the show. We did limit the number that people could get. It was strictly one per customer. I mean, there's just nothing you can do with that stuff. I was actually impressed with how few wound up on eBay out of that Max run. It's a shame for us to see any on a run that small. Again, the size of that run was almost as much the amount of time we had as anything else. And also just the question, we still had no way to know those were going to sell out like that. We thought there was a real chance we were bringing some home. And maybe that sounds dumb now, but that's the way it is with the exclusive stuff. Sometimes you guess right, sometimes you guess wrong.
All right, Jeremy says he would love a life-size Jawa.
So we've done them in the past. There's some photos out there. We don't have it on the website. There's actually, the reason for that is that we ran through all of the fabric we had. We've been working with a new milling place overseas, working to get some new fabric done. The original samples we got are close, but not quite there. And for us to do something like that, we really want to make sure it's there. They are doable. If you want information about them, you can email the studio through the website. They can send you some photos of the ones we've done. If I recall, pricing was around $600 to $6,500. All of them, handmade in the shop right here in New York. So stitched, weathered, all detailed from the tips of their hairy hands to the lighted up eye bulbs.
We have a few people asking about Bib Fortuna and Weequay and if they'll also be signature editions.
So being discussed, and I would just say let us know, if you're looking at maker signatures and that's what drives you, if you'd rather have actor signatures. I think these are kind of small pieces to get both, but we certainly look at it. The thing to remember is, the more signatures you add, the more cost that ends up adding, and every time you add a little bit of cost to something, you've got to then increase to cover the additional expenses that come from raising the price out of something, royalties, insurance, all that fun stuff. But let us know, and we're definitely looking at it. I think the likelihood of some sort of signature edition for each of the maquettes at this point is pretty high. Really, we've been thinking that from the minute sometime around 10:30 the first day of Star Wars Celebration, we were like, maybe we should be doing this for the rest of them. People seem to like it, but it was tough to tell. I'm very glad to hear the feedback here, because at the show everything is really kind of skewed. Everybody's after the exclusive, you don't know what the driver is for that.
Tony says, hi everyone, looking forward to getting the Max. Love the look of Bib as
Hi,
well. Can we have a closer look, please?
I don't have a bib handy. Our stuff from the show is still in a crate on the way back to us, or several crates. Once we get those back, we'll do another video and we'll get a closer look at things like the Gaffys, the Tuscan, the Bib Fortuna, Weequay as we get the paintwork done and stuff like that.
Robert says, thank you for letting me talk your ear off at the show. I look forward to receiving my Taunton bust.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, no, it was really good to see you at the show as well. That's Robert W.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We saw a lot of folks at the show, but it was yours was definitely one of those great ones to finally put a face to the name. Really great chatting with you, and thanks for picking up that Taunton. That's one of those, we've had a few people that picked up the Cantina chairs right after the show, same way, where it's like they came, they saw them, they sat in them, they talked about them, and then went home and grabbed it. I'd love, I probably asked you at the show, but I asked this of everybody. If I saw them looking at the Taunton and they had seen it online, how do you feel about it in person versus online? Same with the Chewy. And it was really cool. Most people's feedback were they thought it was way better in person, and that they were very pleasantly positive about it. I was real happy to hear that, and I think that we try our best to get these things to photograph well, but some of them are tough. Even Max is tough. I've seen a lot of photos where, I know our lighting in here stinks, but I've seen a lot of photos where he just looks pale blue and that's it, and there's a lot going on him. And it's neat, and I think once people see this stuff in person, hopefully there's like additional layers and things that they can grab onto and notice and enjoy that maybe just didn't even get to see otherwise.
Christopher says actor and maker for the maquettes. He likes both signatures.
Okay.
David says, just ordered Max Rebo this morning. Thanks for the awesome panel at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, you're welcome.
Me says, good for signature edition for Bib and Weequay. It's something special.
Cool.
Fran, just stop by to see all the cool stuff and read the awesome comments. One day I'll get to Star Wars Celebration. Please come to Florida.
Well, hopefully they do one there. I wouldn't be surprised that we have no inside knowledge of this. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do another one in Florida, especially since they like to do them near their own theme parks and do tie-in events and stuff. And they've done them at the Orlando Convention Center, and that's actually one of my favorite locations. I really enjoy that convention center. It's massive. There's plenty of room for them. And I'm hopeful that we get to do one down there again.
Ben says, always great chatting with you at the show. Great stuff as always. Can't wait to get the Salacious Crumb.
Thank you, Ben. They're actually working on it. We came back to a really pleasant surprise. It was a studio full of Salacious Crumbs. So while we were gone, they did about 24 of them. And literally just everywhere you looked in the studio, on every shelf, was just little Salacious Crumbs eyeballing you. Right now we're waiting on the styrofoam inserts to ship the first wave out. We have another batch of 24 that is in the works, and those will probably go to finish in a few weeks, and we're just going to keep plugging away like that, 20 or 24 at a time for a few months to get them out there. So pretty cool. More than a few months. But.
Jeremy says, would you ever produce an Ewok bust? He loved the Biker Scout Ewok we did a few years ago. I'm guessing the charity.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, so we did a charity event where you had to take a biker scout and turn it into something cool. And what we did was an Ewok wearing the husk of a biker scout. Trust me, he definitely didn't eat him. Like that biker scout abandoned his helmet and ran to the woods. There's almost no chance that Ewok ate him. He totally ate him. Yeah, I mean, we love Ewoks. We've done a bunch in the past. I personally did a bunch of these. I've restored a bunch of the originals, and then also done this work where we took parts that Stuart Freeborn kept after the movie, face, skins, eyes, teeth, dental appliances, and things like that, and then and even fur, and built them into completed Ewoks. So we've got good inside and out knowledge of how those are. I think I think that's something we could certainly look at in the future. I'm always pleasantly surprised how many people love the Ewoks. I must have been just the right age that I didn't hate them when I was a kid. I think if I was like 3 minutes older, I would have hated Ewoks, but I just got it, and they're I think they're pretty cool, and maybe someday that's something we can do as an addition.
We have a bunch of people asking if we are going to be at Star Wars Celebration in London.
So, almost certainly not, unfortunately. There's more than a few reasons. One is our license is U.S. based in terms of what we're able to ship and where we're able to do it. I'm sure we could go into some contract negotiations or something to try and get carve out for London, but these shows are a massive amount of work, a massive expense. As much as we would love to, I just don't know that we physically could pull that off. And just in terms of making the numbers balance out, it would be pretty rough for us to do that. That said, I've been a guest at the shows in the past. Maybe there's a chance that we can do something in that regard with Reed, or I can get out there and do some panels and meet folks, and certainly talk shop with everybody and do some kind of gathering or something like that. But as a studio, probably unlikely that we'll set up at London. That said, it's 10.5 months away. Anything could happen.
Ben is asking, will the Emperor's Throne chair have any more payment plan options?
I'm not sure where it's at right now. You could certainly give it a look. We have been starting to, we've been trying to loosen up the payment plans a little bit. We're still very new to payment plans, and we're still understanding how they affect our workflow, for lack of a better word. And we have a very, very small office crew. And some days like today, they're just, processing Max Rebo orders all day and not getting a lot of other stuff done. But, sometimes they're hand packing chess pieces or salacious crumbs or whatever's going out. It's a ton of work on them, and we got to make sure that we balance the length of the payment plans versus the overhead it's going to generate. We're always looking at them. I would say take a fresh look at it, because I know we did a round fairly recently where we loosened them all up a little bit, or there's even a few where we added options to have either, let's say a 3 or a 6 month plan, things like that. But give it a look. And if you see something and you're like, hey, I really want this piece, but can you do this plan? Shoot us an email, and maybe we'll take a closer look at that particular item and see if it's anything we can do. What I would say is on both the Emperor Thrones and the Cantina chairs, we are working to make those in-stock items too. Right now they're, I think, 12 to 16 week wait, and that's based on the amount of time that it just takes to get these things made to order. But what we've been doing is trying to order ahead and get them to where they're in stock. What's been happening, certainly with the Cantina chairs, is we had a bunch in stock. They sold out the first hour. We ordered another batch for stock, and now we've been chipping away at that to where we're going to have to order another batch for stock. So it's going to be a while till those get to be, an instant ship kind of item. But for those and the Emperor Thrones, that's ultimately our goal. So it doesn't really help on the payment plan side of things, but for folks who maybe were holding off because there was a long wait, that wait should be coming down over the next 6 months to a year as we get caught up on orders.
Kevin just said, okay, Max ordered. So thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
We have a bunch of people asking, will we see the rest of the band in maquette form?
So I'll ask this. If you were at the show, there was a little black and white photo with a silhouette of someone in it. That's a tease at our next person. Regarding the band, totally separate from that tease. You know, one of the reasons we put Max out early is, you know, maybe to signal just that sort of thing. You know, maybe if we're doing Max, it probably makes sense to do the rest of the band, but we'll see. We'll see how things go.
David's asking, any other Jawa stuff in the pipeline?
Interesting. Not necessarily. I'm trying to think if there is anything. But, you know, never say never, stay tuned, all of that stuff. If there's something specific you want to see, let us know. If it's Jawa stuff in our decor line, Jawa stuff in the replica line. I don't know how a Jawa works as a bust. I feel like there's not really enough there. Certainly not for what we'd have to, you know, really, where it would have to be priced based on the type of work we do. I think, yeah, I don't know. Is there room for some kind of like replica weapon or something? Maybe, I don't know.
Ian says, I specifically watched from Star Wars to Jedi last night to figure this out. I'm 95% confident that is Droopy.
Listen, I'll just say this.
No comment.
You don't need any excuse to sit down and watch From Star Wars to Jedi, the making of a saga. That's like our touchstone for so much of what we do is that documentary. If anybody's out there that hasn't watched it, look it up. I think the official Star Wars site has it somewhere. I know it's on YouTube in multi-parts as well. From Star Wars to Jedi, the making of a saga, probably easily my favorite of the old making of documentaries. You know, there's a couple of really good. There's great Empire Strikes Back one. There's another one or two pretty good Return of the Jedi ones, and the New Hope one is good, but From Star Wars to Jedi making the saga just puts them all away.
It's very quotable, as we do all day.
We quote it a lot.
All right. Tony has a really good question.
Yeah.
Would you tackle the Return of the Jedi concept Gamorrean Guard, even though you have already done one for the Mandalorian?
I would love to. I think so. There's 3 different concept Gamorrean guards, if I'm not mistaken. There's a bust. There's a skinnier kind of maquette, and then a really, really cool walking maquette. Is he here? I always keep this handy just in case Tony asks a question. Yeah, so there's that walking maquette there. I don't know how well you can see that, but and the skinny one's on there too, isn't he? I personally think it's possible. I would love to. I think, you know, we've as we like to say, we got to spend a lot of time with all of those. And I think they're really cool. I think the Mandalorian one definitely would not preclude us from doing that. You know what? This is going to bring me to that Mando exhibit, though. So
I was just about to bring that up.
how many people, you know, so I didn't even hear about this thing ahead of time. We were at the show hearing like whispers about it. And then somebody sent us a picture and they're like, oh, your band guy's here. I'm like, where's our band guy? And they're like, oh, your Taunton's here. I'm like, where's our Taunton? Your Jerba's here. I'm like, where is this? You know? And so it was like this weird, mysterious thing. We didn't know where it was. We didn't know how to get into it. And we wound up, luckily, being able to go there with us and some other folks that worked on the shows and got to go through and see the stuff. But yeah, it was an awesome exhibit. And you know, within the exhibit, we got to see, you know, the original Baby Yoda maquette, which is really cool. We got to see the Gamorrean maquette, which is so weird seeing in person, you know, after having done this one for so long. It's just like, hey, did they steal that from our booth? Like, hold on. But, you know, ours is out of that same mold. It's painted the same way. Like, it really, seeing that in person was cool. It felt like, okay, there we are. Like, you know, and I think Rob's going to put some of these out there. I know he took a bunch of pictures of that, but I'd love to put some side-by-sides up and give people some context on our piece that way. And then the other things we saw, yeah, so we made a bunch of aliens that wound up in Book of Boba so far. You know, they had one of the band guys there that we made. That was cool. Brian Sipes' makeup team did the finish work on it. Pat at the studio cast it. The sculpt was me and Brian Lewis with a little work from Pat as well, actually, because it was a... Anyway, long story. The cool ones to see, though, were the Taunton and the Jerba. And if you go to the TomSpinaDesigns.com website, you can actually see those there. They're the most recent item. But we had made those for the show back at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian, when they first went to Jabba's palace, when they did the teaser for Book of Boba. You never really saw them well in the show. They're kind of blurry in the background a couple times, and we always kind of held off sharing them because that's a general rule of thumb with this stuff. And so to see them at Star Wars Celebration, hanging on the wall, proud as day, you know, just right next to Boba and the Gamorrean and EV-99 and AT-8 and all of that stuff, and Boba's throne was really cool. And for anybody like Robert W., who just picked up a Taunton, this is a little bonus because it's not something we've talked about on the Regal site, and it's not something we've been able to yet, but when we made that for the show, it was prior to the Regal Edition coming out. And so that was shared development. That came while we were working on the Regal one, and it was one of these things that helped us push the development of that into high gear because we had a tight deadline for the show to meet. And so now all of the Regal Tauntauns are from the same molds, by the same people, with the same hair, the same finish, etc., of the one that was made for the wall in Book of Boba, and that's a pretty cool little bit of extra lineage that you got that we never even were able to tell you. So congratulations if you picked one of those up. And if you haven't yet, go to the website, check it out, maybe you'll buy one.
And they're in stock.
And they are in stock. They just finished, I think we have like 4 left right now, but they just finished a wave of 6 of them, so...
Robert says the Hutt twin maquettes from the Mandalorian experience would be amazing. And those
cool.
were cool, yeah.
Those were really cool, yeah.
Me says statues of the Bith Band would be great.
I always love those. Anything Cantina for me.
And Jeremy is saying, and any indication of the price of the Tusken Raider bust?
So yeah, I think we might have even had this at the show,
did.
but $34.99 is the goal price. That's always subject to change right up until the last minute, and if we do change that to a signature edition, that might shift, or if there's, again, if we're doing a signature edition there, I think it's going to be 2 separate little editions anyway, so that not everybody has to, you know, cover that cost. But that's the goal price for it right now.
Is there any place where I could see all the stuff that you've made for Star Wars shows?
No.
Our websites. You can give
yeah, that's NDA Life and all of that. There is, you know, if you look on the TSD website, the Tom Street Design site, you can see the Taunton, you can see the Jerba. What I would say is if you're watching Book of Boba, we've talked about it a little bit, so I'll just kind of rattle off some of the aliens we worked with that you would have seen. There's a couple of band guys. Cabe, the Shroudra fan, there was Snaggletooth, there was Mosap alien, which showed up in the making of, and there was the Don Rickles alien, the Advose. I believe that's everything that actually showed up. In terms of Mandalorian, we did the long snoot guy from the first episode with the ferryman, and then he turns up in another one as a bounty hunter. We did the Gaffy Sticks. We did a bunch of other miscellaneous props through friends of ours that had molds and things like that, comlinks, blasters, things like that. It would really be, at the time, it was whatever they needed fast and that we happened to have a connection for, molds or things like that. Those are the bigger things, though, and, you know, I doubt there'll ever be like a catch-all of where you can see what we did, but wherever possible, if we're able to bring some of that lineage to what we're doing with Regal, we'll do it.
All right, I'm caught up on questions, but how about giving us a quick recap of what we revealed at the show?
Sure. So, I'm like picturing the case now. On the prop replica side, Mandalorian Gaffy Stick. This is the style that the Tusken Raiders carried in the Mandalorian, and I love them using it as a bantha toothpick. We have the A New Hope Gaffy Stick, hero style. We have the Rancor Corbels on our decor side, where we have both the 18-inch and magnet scale versions of the awesome bronze sculpture. In fact, here's an unpainted prototype that I just happen to have on a desk here. This is the magnet size one. That was scanned off the real prop like our other stuff, and we've got the magnet, we've got the big thing. For people that don't know, this is hanging on the wall in Jabba's sail barge, and it's most prominently seen in a cutscene where Reese and Yakface get into a fight and accidentally punch C-3PO. That's the core. Then we've got the Tusken Raider bust. Then we move on to the maquettes, where we showed the Max Rebo numbered edition, live on our website today. Please order don't forget his backside. Everyone loves it. Then we had the Bib Fortuna bust. And again, you can see the reveal of that stuff on the website. Go to the news page, look for the reveals page. We had the Taunton 4-pack of concept maquette busts, which are really cool sculpts by Phil Tippett. And then the Weequay maquette, which we showed an unpainted sample of. And that's everything we officially revealed, I think.
That's everything.
And then, funny enough, we have two things that are coming out even sooner that we didn't show. So coming Father's Day, that's a hint. Coming Father's Day, we have two pieces. One is a magnet from our separation collection, and one will be a wood art plaque that is possibly my favorite of the bunch because it's something I used to visit at my local theater every day for years, even long after 1982 when it first showed up. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for those. If you're not already on our mailing list, go to our website, put your email in there. We'll email you when new stuff comes out. If you happen to be seeing this on social, please like, subscribe, whatever the kids say. And if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely subscribe, check back. There's always new stuff coming. And again, if you're still live, feel free to throw in some more questions before we wrap. If not, if you're seeing this as a re-air or found it on our website or something, put your questions in the comments wherever you found it. We'll keep an eye on it and we'll try and get back to everyone we can.
Kevin says, so in review, at the show I got the Kowakian monkey lizards, the Blue Harvest signed, and now I have a max bonus. I got to speak with Tom twice at Celebration, once by myself and once with a mutual friend, Mac. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. It was very nice of you, man. No, it was great to chat with you at the show. It was so nice to see everyone at the show. It really, I barely had a voice left after the second day of just talking to folks, but it was worth it. And just coming home from the show, we're all still, I think, catching up on sleep, but we'll get there. We have a ton of stuff ahead of us. We still have so much on this board that nobody even knows about. And, we're going to be busy.
Can you just give us the price again for the Tusken Raider bust?
$34.99. That's $3,499, not $35. And again, due out mid to late summer, I guess is a good way to say that. Definitely a long payment plan on it. And like everything, details, price, all of that, not final until it goes live on the website and Disney's approved it.
Ben is asking about the Rancor Barge sculpture, when it's going to be released.
That is due out June 28th. And that will come out both the 18-inch wall sculpture and the magnet. And I actually like Rancor Barge sculpture as a way to talk about that. That's a good name for that.
How about giving your best sales pitch for our numbered edition of Max?
Here's the only sales pitch anyone needs. Right there. That's all anyone talks about on Twitter. I mean, there we are. It's look at our mentions on Twitter. It's all pictures of Max Rebo's backside. Here's the best sales pitch I got. Watch From Star Wars to Jedi, the Making of a Saga. Look at Phil Tippett holding that little maquette and with a pair of scissors carving up that big costume right there. And, know that you want to know what it feels like to hold that too. And I certainly did. It's the whole reason that we started making this stuff. Those old shows mean so much to us here. And, to be able to go into the archives, to see these things up close, to scan them, to put your hands on them, to color match them. These are all dreams come true, and the best, we know not everyone gets to do that. So we feel super fortunate that we can, and the best way that we can share that feeling with you guys is through this stuff. So that's my sales pitch. It ain't about money, it ain't about collectability, it's about what you love, and I feel like Max is one of those things that we're very lucky a lot of folks love, and we're very lucky to have you all as customers and everybody who's been watching and asking questions.
Justin says, just ordered the Rebo, looking forward to adding it to his collection. So thanks, Justin. Where else are we? Do we have a price point on the Taunton 4-pack maquettes?
Those are aiming to be, so most of the maquette sets are aiming, or maquettes are aimed to be $3.99. With those Taunton bus, we're going with that raw clay, kind of 2-color wash sort of thing to pop the details for each, with the intent to make that one set $3.99. So for $3.99, you're getting all 4 of those busts. And I think that's about 95% right now. We've already run a lot of the numbers on that. So that's the plan there. I think it's one of those pieces that's a little bit obscure, but the price is great for what you're getting. And if you're someone that's picked up the other Phil Tippett Taunton that we've done in the past, they work so well together, and it's another reason that we kept them in that sort of raw clay look, because that was the look we went with for this. All of the other ones in the series, all the Return of the Jedi maquettes, the goal is to paint them how they were painted at the time in 1981, 82 when they were doing the concept work. So, but those Tauntons are going to be that raw clay color like we showed them at the show, and $3.99 for all 4s.
Justin's asking, when is the 1-to-1 Rebo Bus going to be released? Ben is asking, where is the line for weapons, like Gaffy Sticks, Jawa blaster versus lightsabers and blasters? What can you guys do versus what the territory for the other licensees?
So it's a great question. I'm just going to go back to the life-size Rebo bust for a thing. As a bust, he'd be weird, but we got to restore that original costume. We've spent a ton of time with it since then. Certainly as a custom thing, I don't know that we would ever do it as a run. But if somebody was had the space and the wild hair to get a Rebo band made life size or get a Max Rebo life size, that's right up our alley. But going back to where that line is, so it is a line that Lucasfilm sets, and it is a line that will always be fluid due to the nature of the contracts that we have. Our contract is primarily home decor and busts and statues. We have had, over time, the word artifacts added into that, which I think is a great word for a lot of the stuff we do. And that lets us drift into the prop world. However, EFX is the prop license. They're the main Lucasfilm prop licensee right now. When it comes to, metal stuff, machined, real clean stuff, that's right up their alley. If you're talking blasters, you're talking lightsabers, you're talking, hand props, that's where you're going to get that stuff. If it's a weapon that has some more character, and it's something that is, not of interest for them to pursue because of whatever reasons, whether it doesn't make sense for them financially, whether their clientele isn't asking for it, or whether it's just too weird and wouldn't be enough of them or something like that, that's when we get to sort of wade into those waters. We have a great relationship with EFX. We have a great relationship with Lucasfilm. These are conversations we have whenever we have the idea to do some kind of prop or if someone's asking us about something. So, the Gaffy Sticks came out of that sort of talk. We're working on some Tusken stuff. We'd love to do a Gaffy Stick. We did the one for the show for Mando, so we have that version going. And, we talk with EFX, we talk with Lucasfilm, and we find, where everybody's comfortable. So if there's other stuff to discuss in the future, we will. I would not expect us to be your source for, Han Solo blasters or lightsabers anytime soon. That's very much up EFX's alley, and I would hit up Brian Ono over there and let him know what you want to see if there's stuff that he's not making.
Christopher says, when will you guys start on Cantina Alien busts?
That's such a good question, Christopher. There is a card on my board that says Cantina Alien TBD, and it keeps getting moved on me, and I'm usually the one that moves it, but I'm not, I'm going to blame someone else. There's more than a few that I would like to do. We bumped up the Tusken Raider because we had the Gaffys going, and it kind of made sense to have a little bit of a bantha party, but I would love to fit a Cantina Alien in there sometime soon. We have 1, 2, 3 other busts already sort of in the mix for the future. 2 busts and 1 bust-ish. But I'd love to get a Cantina Alien in the mix on that. We've got good stuff going towards a lot of that. We've got sculpts that I did years ago that are real accurate. thank you very much. We have stuff that we've done for commercials and videos with Lucasfilm again that are pretty faithful and authentic to the real deal. So, you know, we have a head start on some of those. If there's Cantina Aliens you guys want to see, let us know. You know, that's something to throw in the comments. Tell us who you want to hear.
Well, Christopher Erdes beat you to it. He said Hammerhead.
Oh God! Give me a bigger one. We've done him for commercials and things like that. He's huge. I don't think people realize how big Hammerhead is, and he's a little awkward as a bust because his chest is back here and the front of his head is up here. You know, he's a good, like, I don't know, 28, 30 inches front to back, easy. He's almost that wide. You know, we've got all the scaling and everything on him from years ago, and yeah, I mean, Hammerhead's doable, but maybe look at the Don Rickles alien, maybe the brain guy, you know. I would say that we probably wouldn't do a Cantina band guy right off the bat, just because, you know, we did one of those with Sideshow years ago, and those still float up from time to time. Although that's a pretty good one. Duros would be a neat one, but they're pretty big. Oh God, there's so many. They're all good to me. I mean, I would go from the absolute most obscure, like the Bracano Bakiska guy with the mustache, you know, all the way to Hammerhead. If folks had the room and the money, I would do them all.
I think we can wrap this up.
If we can end on Cantina stuff, that makes me happy. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate the questions. Love having you guys engaged and involved in everything that we're doing. Thank you to everyone who came and saw us at the show. That meant a lot to us, and it was really cool for the staff here, some of which never really gets to hear from you guys directly, to see the impact their work makes and to talk to the folks that bring it home, and that was great, and thank you for that. Made the whole crew feel good, and we made sure to pass that along to everybody once we got home. So yeah, thank you so much. Tune in again soon, like and subscribe, and be well.
Bye.